In the world of cybersecurity, there's a golden rule you hear all the time. Never trust, always verify. But what happens when the very AI we're relying on to do the verifying can be tricked? Today, we're diving into how our smartest new defense could, ironically, become our biggest security nightmare. And that question, man, it really gets to the heart of it, right? Think about it. What if the tool you bought for protection, your most advanced AI, could be turned into a weapon against you? It's this crazy paradox that security experts are scrambling to solve, and we're going to break down exactly why. So, to really get a handle on this new threat, we've got to rewind a bit and look at the old way of doing things. For decades, companies built these huge digital fortresses to protect their data. But as you'll see, that whole foundation was flawed from the start, and the story of modern security really begins when those castle walls came crashing down. For the longest time, the strategy was basically medieval. Companies saw their networks as castles. They spent a fortune building huge walls and deep moats, things like perimeter firewalls. The idea was simple: keep the bad guys out, and once you're on the inside, you're a trusted friend. And that right there, that was the fatal flaw. It's a concept called implicit trust. It meant that once an attacker got past that one big wall, they basically had free rein. They could wander around the castle, open any door, and access pretty much everything. One mistake, one successful phishing email, could lead to total disaster. That model, it's completely broken.
Okay, so the castle is in ruins. What now? Well, the industry responded with a totally revolutionary new philosophy, one that basically threw out the old rulebook entirely. It's called zero trust.
And the shift in thinking here is massive. Instead of one big wall around the outside, I want you to imagine a security guard at every single door inside the castle. That's zero trust. It flips the script from trust but verify to never trust, always verify. Every file, every app, every single user has to prove they belong there every single time they try to do something. This all boils down to one core mantra. You assume the network is always hostile. You just assume a breach has already happened. You assume bad actors are already inside. It's a beautifully simple, maybe a little paranoid way of looking at the world. And make no mistake, this is not some niche idea. We're talking about a massive industry, nearly $35 billion this year alone. That boom is being driven by everything from remote work to the cloud, all these trends that just completely dissolved the old castle perimeter and made zero trust the new global standard. And the proof, it's right there in the numbers. Over 80% of organizations are already on this train. Heck, even governments are mandating it. The verdict is in. The castle has fallen, and we are officially in the zero trust era.
So how does this actually work? Well, it rests on four big pillars. First is identity. Who you are is the new front door. Then, once you're in, you're hit with the principle of least privilege. You only get the keys to the one specific room you need for only as long as you need it. The building itself is built with microsegmentation, which is like having automatic fire doors between every single room, so a problem in one area stays contained. And the whole time, continuous verification is like a motion detector, constantly rechecking that you still belong there.
Okay, so we've got our new powerful security model. Everything's looking good. But now a new player steps onto the stage: artificial intelligence. And this is where things get really, really interesting, because AI is both the hero and a potential villain in the story. This is the central paradox we're talking about. On one hand, companies are using AI to spot threats with superhuman speed and precision. But on the other hand, attackers are realizing that these super complex AI models have their own unique blind spots, creating brand new ways to attack that just didn't exist before. The fancy name for this new type of attack is Adversarial Machine Learning. But really, it's a pretty simple idea. It's the science of tricking an AI. It's all about finding an AI's blind spots and then exploiting them on purpose. So if tricking an AI is the goal, how is it actually done? How does a hacker become this algorithm alchemist, able to fool a machine that's supposed to be smarter than all of us? Well, the attacks mostly fall into two main flavors. On the left, you have evasion attacks. This is about tricking a fully trained AI in real time. But on the right, you have poisoning attacks, which are way more devious. This is like sabotaging the AI while it's being built, secretly creating a hidden backdoor that the attacker can use whenever they want later on.
Now, to make this real for you, check out this unbelievable example of an evasion attack. Researchers proved that by putting just a few small pieces of tape on a stop sign, they could fool a super sophisticated self-driving car's AI into seeing a speed limit sign. The AI was 100% confident and 100% wrong. Now just imagine that same technique being used on an AI that's supposed to detect malware. And that brings everything full circle. If even our smartest, most advanced AI defenses can be so easily tricked, it forces us right back to that core belief of zero trust. You cannot implicitly trust any component in your system, not even the AI you bought to protect it. So what you have now is this dangerous feedback loop. Defenders build a smarter AI, so attackers build an AI to trick that AI. This sets the stage for a brand new kind of conflict, a security arms race fought entirely between algorithms. And this leads us to the single most important insight of this whole explainer. Far from making zero trust obsolete, these new AI threats actually make it more essential than ever before. In a world where we must assume our AI tools can be fooled, zero trust becomes the fundamental safety net. It's the containment strategy for our own fallible technology. Let's break down exactly why this works. Remember those pillars? Microsegmentation means that if your fancy AI malware detector gets tricked, the damage is contained to one tiny little zone. The blast radius is small. And least privilege access makes sure that even if the AI is compromised, it can't just hand over the keys to the entire kingdom. Its power is always strictly limited. You can literally see the whole story of modern security laid out right here. We had traditional threats, so we built digital castles. The castles failed, so we adopted zero trust. Then we used AI to make our defenses stronger, which just led attackers to develop adversarial AI to break them. And that brings us to today, where zero trust isn't just a strategy, it's the foundation we need to contain this whole new arms race. Which leaves us with one last really fascinating question to think about. As this AI-powered arms race gets faster and faster, who ultimately has the advantage? The defenders, who have to protect a basically infinite number of targets, or the attackers, who only need to find one single flaw? The answer to that is going to define the next decade of security.